Ever get the feeling there's more to a place than meets the eye? Like, you think you know a city, but then it's like, boom, hidden history.
Like finding buried treasure, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's Anaheim for me. We had tons of you asking for a deep dive on this one, and let me tell you, it went in some directions I never expected. I always thought Anaheim was pretty much synonymous with Disneyland.
Right, the mouse house.
But turns out, Anaheim's story goes way back, long before Disney and those iconic mouse ears.
Oh yeah, way back. Buckle up, because we're going all the way to 1857.
1857, huh? What was happening in Anaheim back then? Gold rush? Cowboys?
Not quite. Think more along the lines of German settlers and vineyards.
Hold up, German settlers in California.
Yep. This was the era of California wine country, but forget Napa and Sonoma. These folks were planting roots near the Santa Ana River, creating a little slice of home they called Anaheim.
Heim, like home in German. Clever.
Exactly. They were drawn by the promise of fertile land, hoping to, recreate some of that old world charm.
So Anaheim was once a budding wine country paradise. Who knew?
It was a different time, that's for sure. But alas, this vineyard dream, it wasn't meant to last.
What happened? Why'd they ditch the grapes?
Well, imagine you're a farmer, putting your heart and soul into these vineyards, and then bam, Pierce's disease hits. This nasty vine disease swept through in the late 19th century, wiping out vineyards left and right. Devastating stuff.
Talk about a punch to the gut, those poor farmers.
It was a turning point for Anaheim, forced them to adapt or,
perish.
Pretty much. But these Anaheim folks, they were resilient. They rolled up their sleeves and went, okay, if not grapes, then what?
And what was the answer? What saved Anaheim from agricultural oblivion?
Oranges.
Oranges. So that's where the whole orange candy thing comes from.
You got it. Anaheim's orange groves became legendary, a symbol of this whole region's agricultural might.
From vineyards to oranges, talk about a plot twist. But even with all those juicy oranges, Anaheim couldn't escape the changes brewing in 20th century California, could it?
Nope, not even close. As Southern California's population exploded, everything started to shift. Suddenly, those orange groves were looking awfully appealing to developers with dreams of houses and strip malls.
Yeah, progress can be a double-edged sword.
Tell me about it. But hey, maybe it's his ability to adapt and reinvent that makes Anaheim so fascinating.
Okay, but then things get really interesting because just as Anaheim's finding its suburban groove, along comes a guy named Walt.
Walt Disney, you mean?
The one and only.
Yeah.
And suddenly, everything's about to change again. But Anaheim's not just about theme parks, right?
Well, yeah.
Didn't we say something about sports earlier?
Oh, yeah, Anaheim's got game. We're talking Major League action here.
Okay, hit me. Which teams call Anaheim home?
Well, first up, you've got the Los Angeles Angels. They've been swinging for the fences in Major League Baseball since way back in 1966.
Wow, 1966. That's before I was even born.
And then there's those Anaheim Ducks. They've been bringing the heat to the NHL since 1993.
So whether you're a baseball fan or a hockey fanatic,
Yeah.
Anaheim's got you covered. But let's not forget about that convention center.
The Anaheim Convention Center? Oh, yeah, that place is huge. I mean, seriously massive.
Didn't they host some big Star Wars thing there once upon a time?
You're talking about the 1978 World Science Fiction Convention, right? Yeah, that was a pretty legendary event. Apparently, George Lucas himself gave everyone a sneak peek at The Empire Strikes Back.
Now that's a story to tell the grandkids. Okay, but let's get back to Anaheim itself. What about some of the lesser-known spots? The places most tourists wouldn't even know to look for.
You mean like Anaheim's hidden gems? The spots that give it that unique character?
Exactly. What treasures have you dug up for us?
Well, how about a trip back in time to 1857? We're talking about the Mother Colony House.
Older than Disneyland, you're kidding.
Nope. This house is a real blast from the past. It's one of Orange County's oldest structures, a direct link to those early settlers.
It's amazing that something from that era survived all the development. Speaking of old, I heard a rumor about a haunted mansion, something called the Anaheim White House.
Yeah, it's not exactly a haunted house. It's a pretty fancy Italian restaurant now. But some say it's got a few ghostly residents who never checked out.
Ooh, spooky. Dinner and a ghost sighting.
Yeah.
Now that's what I call a memorable night out. Okay, before we get sidetracked by ghosts, I'm curious about Disneyland.
Yeah.
Why Anaheim? Why not, like, Hollywood or something?
Well, Walt Disney wasn't just a dreamer. He was a pretty smart businessman, and he knew location was everything. See, Anaheim was close to Los Angeles with tons of potential visitors.
Makes sense. You want to make it easy for people to get to the magic, right?
And don't forget the freeways. Back in the mid-20th century, the freeway system was booming, and Anaheim was right in the middle of it all.
So people could just hop in their cars and zoom straight to Disneyland.
Pretty much. Walt knew that accessibility was key. Okay, back to those hidden gems. You ready for something completely different?
Kid me?
Get ready for Little Arabia.
Little Arabia. I've never even heard of that.
It's this amazing cultural hub right in the heart of Anaheim. It's like stepping into the Middle East without ever leaving California.
Wow. Okay, you've got my attention. What's in Little Arabia? Give me the details.
Imagine bustling markets, spices everywhere, incredible food, and just this vibrant energy. It's a side of Anaheim that most people miss, and it's truly special.
Okay, I'm adding Little Arabia to my must-see list. It just blows my mind how Anaheim can be this global tourist destination with a world-famous theme park, but also have these hidden cultural gems. It's incredible.
It's that blend of old and new, familiar and unexpected. It's what makes Anaheim so unique.
And with over 340,000 people calling it home, it's clearly a city of contrasts. Families can be riding Space Mountain one minute, and then locals are enjoying some fancy dinner the next.
Speaking of contrast, did you know Anaheim used to have a pretty wild reputation for its music scene?
Wait, really? Like jazz clubs? Give me the lowdown.
Oh, we're talking more than just jazz. Think rock and roll. Back in the 60s and 70s, Anaheim was the place to be.
Rock and roll, Anaheim. Now, that's not a picture I had in my head.
It's true. Big names, up-and-coming artists, you name it. Anaheim was the place to be for music back then.
This city has had some serious makeovers, hasn't it? From German vineyards to orange groves and now a rock and roll past. It's like Anaheim's lived 1,000 different lives.
Yeah, and through it all, this incredible ability to adapt and evolve. I mean, think about it. Anaheim's gone from a tiny German colony to this global tourist mecca. That's some serious transformation.
It makes you wonder, though, how does a city hold on to its heart and soul when it's constantly changing? Especially with something as big as Disneyland looming over everything.
It's a tough balance, that's for sure. No easy answers. But I think that's part of what makes Anaheim so intriguing, you know? It's still figuring things out, still writing its story.
And I have a feeling that story's far from over. I mean, if history's any indication, Anaheim's got more surprises up its sleeve. Who knows what the next chapter holds?
Exactly. And that's what I'm hoping you'll take away from this deep dive, Anaheim. It's more than just a place on a map, more than just Disneyland even. It's a city brimming with history, culture, this spirit of reinvention that's honestly contagious.
Well said. And for our listeners out there who are ready to discover Anaheim for themselves, I say check out some pictures of the Mother Colony House, the Anaheim White House, even Little Arabia. Trust me, you won't be disappointed.
Pictures, stories, that's how we connect with a place, right?
Absolutely. Well, folks, that's another deep dive in the books. Anaheim, you've officially blown our minds. We'll catch you all next time for another adventure. Keep those curiosity gears turning.